I'm Lavender, the Children's Assistant at the Beta Memorial Library, and this is our video story time. Make sure that you check out our Facebook linked below to see if there are any crafts or activity packages to go with this story time. Fall is for School by Robert Newbecker. Fall is time for school. That really is uncool. Fall is here, it's time for school. The summer's in the past. I'm staying here, I will not go. Vacation went too fast. Fall is time for turning leaves. The weather's growing cool. Fall is here, come on with me. It's time to go to school. School is really not my thing. You go on alone. I'll be fine all by myself, sitting here at home. Let's go and meet your teacher. You're going to look so nice. Tuck in your shirt and tie your shoes. You must take my advice. Teacher? Teacher? Sister, no! I do not think that I can go. In school we'll learn of Romans, who really were no dummies, and the pyramids in Egypt, all filled up with mummies. Dinosaurs and carnivores, mighty Tyrannosaurus, giant tigers, woolly mammoths, really were enormous. I am going to play all day. It doesn't matter what you say. Recess is for playing games. We'll run and jump and climb. Let's go right now and join the fun. You really must not whine. Whine. Do your numbers, 1, 2, 3. Add, subtract, and multiply. A million, trillion, my oh my. Count the stars up in the sky. I do not like arithmetic. It hurts my eyes. It makes me sick. I will not go. I do not care. I have heard enough. To tell the truth, I'm not like you. School is just too tough. Rocket ships that fly to Mars, music, sports, and art. These are all the things you love. I think you're very smart. We will learn to read and write the stories we will tell. And if you want to do it right, you have to learn to spell. Fall is time for parties, for spooky Halloween. We'll dress up just like zombies and paint our faces green. And science we will never stop until we ace the pumpkin drop. Pumpkin drop? Pumpkin drop. We pad them up and drop them. It's really engineering. If your pumpkin doesn't smash, the teacher will be cheering. Is that something I can do? And everyone is going? Staying home day after day was getting kind of boring. Fall is time for school. We'll learn and we'll be clever. A great big world will open up and change our lives forever. Maybe school will be all right. I might just reconsider. Maybe you are not so dumb for my baby sister. Fall is time for school. School is full of awesome. The world is mighty cool. It's an amazing universe. Fall is time for school. My New Teacher and Me by Al Yankovic and illustrated by Wes Hargis. The first day of school, it was finally here. I wondered who'd be my new teacher this year. Then at 8:30 sharp, a tall stranger walked in. He stood by the chalkboard and stroked his long chin. He said, "I'm Mr. Booth, and I'm happy to say I'll be teaching you all about fractions today. Now open your textbooks to page number 3. And that's when he stopped, and he stared right at me. He said, "You, young man, why's that filth on your shirt? You can't come in my classroom all covered in dirt." I said, "Hi, nice to meet you, sir. Billy's the name. See, a funny thing happened before the bus came. I was digging to china out in my backyard, and I almost was there when I hit something hard. Well, I dug and I dug and I dug a bit more, and discovered the skull of a real dinosaur. And I would have cleaned up, sir, but hey, I'm no fool. I just couldn't be late on the first day of school." For a second or two, Mr. Booth kind of froze. Then he walked up to me, and he looked down his nose. "I don't tolerate nonsense, no, not 1 degree. And your story sounds highly unlikely to me." "Why, of course it's unlikely," I said. "Oh, by far. The awesomest things in the world often are. For instance, this friend of my third cousin Ned's got a farm where their dairy cows each have 2 heads. That's so highly unlikely all the tourists all stop just to take their own pictures. $3 a pop. Completely ridiculous, sneered Mr. Booth. Please stop wasting our time and just stick to the truth. Well, the truth can seem crazy, like that day in June when my grandfather famously walked on the moon. And he played ukulele while flying a kite. It was in all the papers. You've heard of it, right? You know what? My grandfather even implied someday he might take me along for the ride. The class started cheering. Take us too. Then Mr. Booth bristled and snapped, That'll do. Here, Poppycock, class, please be quiet, be still. He is not going off to the moon. Never will. That's all right, I told him. The moon is okay, but I've been to a much cooler place anyway. I just went on vacation with my dad and mom to an island somewhere between Norway and Guam, where the blueberry muffins grow right on the trees, and you flip inside out every time that you sneeze. All the rabbits say moo, and the poodles go neigh, and the traffic light colors are pink, blue, and gray. Oh, and every third Thursday about 1:30, all the gravity stops. Wow, is that ever fun? There's a squid eating contest, and hey, if you win it, they'll let you be king for exactly 1 minute. Then everyone does what you tell them to do. Man, I sure hope we get to go back next year too. Mr. Booth didn't care for that story one bit. He furrowed his brow and he said, Okay, that's it. Admit that your stories are simply absurd. I just do not believe them, not one single word. Then I cleared my throat and said, Well, sir, you know, just 'cause you don't believe doesn't mean it's not so. Just 'cause you can't imagine it, that doesn't mean that it simply can't be or won't ever be seen. I'll bet every great thinker and leader we've got could see all kinds of things other people could not. So then, why get upset if somebody like me tries to look at the world just a bit differently? Enough, Mr. Booth said. No more of these stunts. You'll march straight to the principal's office at once. Something slipped from my book as I walked past to the door. Mr. Booth picked it up, and his jaw hit the floor. It was me and a cow with not one head, but two. Oh, I said, I was planning to give that to you. It's a good luck gift. I got it for free. He stared hard at the photo, then looked back at me. I avoided the principal's office that day. In fact, old Mr. Booth put my gift on display. He steals a quick glance at it once in a while. And I'm not even kidding. I once saw him smile. We should get along fine, and it's certainly clear. There's a lot we'll be teaching each other this year. Like how all of my stories are perfectly true. Except for, well, maybe a detail or two.